Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before the video starts, I just want to thank everybody that stuck around as long as they have. It's been a crazy couple of months. Here come my excuses. Y'all have seen the driveway project. Again, that's part of this channel, believe it or not, because that's a new entryway to the backyard so I can get my shop built early next year. That's the plan anyway. In the last 4 months, I've changed jobs. There's been a lot going on, but it's all kind of coming to a close. I'm finally getting back into the garage and working on this thing. You're not missing nothing. I'm not abandoning the channel. I'm not just getting it done and moving on to something else. I am going to finish this. Y'all are going to see it run for the first time, etc. I don't have that much more left to do. It's just a matter of getting back in the garage and finishing this. You all have got the basics, more than the basics. Y'all got the idea of what I do and what I can do and what I like to do. So I'm not going to sit here and show you every nut and bolt and washer. You know, I think that's verbatim what I said on the very first episode. But then I realized, nope, that's not. Nobody's going to watch that. I do honestly enjoy doing the YouTube thing. You know, whether I ever get more than 100 subscribers, I don't care. I enjoy making these videos. It's a lot of fun learning how to video edit and learning that I don't have good enough equipment. Learn that very quick. So, and good stuff's expensive, but you know, we do our best. I've bought some different lenses for the GoPro, and the footage in this video is a little hit and miss because I had to get used to the new focal points. You know, it is what it is. You know, every video I do try to make a little bit better than the last. You know, ideally, I would like to put up a video every week. At the moment, I don't really see that happening. I might have a few good weeks, but a lot of my spare time is wrapped up in trying to finish that project. If you stick around to the end of the video, you will see I'll put a little teaser photo. TCF Garage now has our second project car, and that threw a monkey wrench in the gearbox because now I want to work on the new car, not this. I'm bored with this. It's got to get done and sold. I'm not going to half-ass anything. I'm treating this the same as I always have, by ignoring it. It's a 60s car, I'll give you that much. But it's definitely, I like it. But like I said, I will make a video on that by itself here in the future because it's going to be a while before we start working on that one. It can fit in the garage, but that's about all it can do. It's pretty big, but it's not as heavy as it looks. But we'll get to that in a couple videos. But hey, thanks again. I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope you stick around. And eventually, I post, you know, I upload something worth you wanting to show your friends over. I think we're gonna get a little bit of a takeoff with this next project car because it's already got some custom stuff done to it. That's pretty subjective, but it's an eyebrow raiser for sure. But just have to wait and see. So after pulling the oil cooler off, it's a little gunky. Figured I would just run some purple power through it, and of course then immediately water, because it is purple power is fairly caustic to aluminum. But we were greeted with a big old chunk of blockage. Alright guys, as you can see, finally got around and just knocking out this fuel filter. Got the new one here in the box. Obviously you make sure it's the right one before you start tearing everything apart. Some cars, these are under the hood on the firewall. Sometimes they're on the frame rail. Most of the time they're down here by the tank. These days we're dealing with a nylon fiber style fuel line, otherwise, you know, plastic, whatever. So this makes life a little easier as far as servicing. It's really just one screw that holds this little plastic basket in place. It opens up. These fuel lines, it's kind of hard to see. They have a little push thing. You push in and that releases two. It's got two little plastic barbs that go around the notch. There's a little bevel right here on one of the lines, or on one of the stems for the fuel line. That pops around that and just holds it as a retainer as you're pushing it in. So pressing on that releases, pretty much puts those in a position where they'll open up. They'll wipe outwards as you're pulling this line off, and we're going to have fuel dribble everywhere. I don't care. I don't really even have on any safety precaution other than my gloves, because I know there's no fuel pressure in the system whatsoever. I've only got the quick jacks on the first notch. A job like this, obviously, you're going to need a lift to get the car in the air. You know, this isn't something you can do in your driveway. So basically you got a screw here that holds this little basket, holds the fuel filter in the basket. It's one Phillips head screw. You loosen that. First you want to leave it in there for now and just get your fuel lines off. You could probably do this with one tool, with just one tool, but I'm going to use just a little junky pair of needle nose and I guess I could put some rags down, huh? Oh, I think it's past. Oh, wow. Move the GoPro. Yay, fuel down my arm. It's been a while. And of course it's going to drain. There's going to be a lot in the line. I guess I'll get a rag. And again, this one's going to have fuel in it as well. So again, these are nice because it's pretty self-explanatory of what goes where as far as the fuel lines. It's really hard, if not impossible, to screw this up. I mean, usually you're used to dealing with maybe even a stainless steel coated line and banjo bolts with crush washers. I mean, I've done fuel filters before, you know, underneath cars that have that have crush washers on them, and then key it on, and just the in-tank pump pressure is enough to cause it to leak. You know, it's like, oh shit. Well, that's almost off. Didn't even feel like it. All right. Maybe not. Whatever. All right, so the fuel lines are off. Oh, yeah, that was that's letting all the letting the air escape now. So that's going to dribble quite a bit. So now we can go after screw. Pop this down. Oh yeah, there's a little notch. There we go. Wow, this glove is melting. That's all right. These gloves don't like fuel. Gasoline, I guess. Interesting. Anyway, I'll be right back. So I've got my blue gloves on. These were latex actually. There's some new old stock I had laying around. These day age, you try to save the nitrile for when you actually need them. Try to use up the old junky gloves first, because it being the age we're in, a decent set of nitrile gloves, not that I really ever cared about a decent set. I used to just get 3 mil from Harbor Freight. They used to be $6.99, $5.99. Well, geez, you can't get a box of, I mean, you don't even look at the mill anymore. If there's 100 gloves in there, you just try to get the cheapest ones you can, because they're about almost 20 bucks a box now. But anyway, so there's your new fuel filter. There's this little nub here that guy this has to go in and slide up into the cradle. It just kind of holds it in place along with the cradle itself. So I'll go ahead and slide this in. And pop that in like that. Now I'll go ahead and put my screw in, if my head just didn't block the whole thing. You know, this is just one of those routine maintenance things. I don't really need to record this to show y'all. I just been kind of just blowing through everything. I like listening to music when I work, and I don't need to spread all that out into 6 different videos, you know. Jeez. Alright, so when you're going back on with these, there's really no other preparation other than making sure it's clean on the end. Oop, dripping fuel everywhere. I mean, these have small O-rings inside. It's non-serviceable. The only way to have, you know, the right peace of mind is to replace these entire lines, or just these ends if you can find them, and then you have to cut this line back, and then you have to do, it's a heat shrink thing, which, yeah, let's use heat down here next to a fuel tank. You'd have to replace the lines. So the O-rings inside these fitting heads, you have to reuse them. There's no other choice. Otherwise, you're replacing the line. I don't know, maybe you're some guru and you know the supplier, and you can get in there with a pick and pop that O-ring out and put a new one in there. More power to you if that's what you're into. I mean, so usually you like to hear a positive click when you pop these in like that. Give it a good little tug back and forth. And here's the other one. Same thing. Maybe. Come on now. It doesn't hurt to give it a little help either. Going back over, you can feel free to push your clips in. There we go. That's all that one needed, just a little bit of help. So you can feel it now. So I'll get back and forth. You can feel it against that bevel. Double check this one. Little tune. Make sure they're good. And we'll do the other one you can't see. Clip right in. So, you know, usually after you do a job like this, you're going to key on, check for leaks. because you have to purge the air out of this, which is going to happen when I get up to the fuel system up front once I start putting everything back together. So for now, we're pretty much done underneath. Like I said, this is a pretty simple deal. And stretch out in 5 minutes probably. But that's one more job done, one more peace of mind. So let's move on to the next thing. Electronically actuated, kind of a blow-off valve. As you saw, I got the AC compressor on, the whole oil filter module on and in place. There's still a handful of bolts I still have to torque down on the bottom side. I got all the top ones done. When I put the motor in, I just got them snug. I pull them out one by one and Loctite them and put them back in and torque them. You can see there's one I just kind of left for now, just put it in place so I wouldn't lose it. You can see this bracket, and this is kind of how I removed it. I had just pulled these bolts out, kind of just slipped the motor out, wiggled it millimeter by millimeter, I inched it out. You remember there was one in behind the starter. So now I'm gonna go and do all the ones underneath. Alright guys, we got all the rest of our bolts on. And torque down what they need to be.